The moon hung low in the midnight sky, casting an eerie pallor over the dense forest. A chill breeze rustled the leaves, and the only sounds were the occasional hoot of an owl and the distant howl of a coyote. In the heart of this wilderness, a group of 4 friends embarked on a hunting trip like no other. The leader of the group was Mark, a seasoned hunter with years of experience. He was known for his sharp instincts and uncanny ability to track even the most elusive of prey. With him were Sarah, his adventurous girlfriend, Mike, a burly outdoorsman, and Emily, a wildlife enthusiast with a deep love for animals. They had heard rumors of a legendary beast that inhabited these woods, a creature so fierce and cunning that it had eluded hunters for generations. Some called it the Shadow Stalker, while others believed it to be a supernatural entity. Determined to prove their skills, the group had set out to hunt this enigmatic quarry. Their journey began at the break of dawn, each member armed with a rifle and a sense of trepidation. Mark led them deeper into the forest, following faint tracks and subtle signs of the creature's presence. As the day wore on, the tension in the group grew. The forest seemed to close in around them, and the atmosphere grew increasingly ominous. Hours passed, and they found themselves in a remote part of the forest, far from civilization. The shadows lengthened, and the woods grew darker. It was then that they heard it, the chilling sound of something moving through the underbrush, just beyond their line of sight. Emily's eyes widened, her love for wildlife conflicting with the hunt. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Mark nodded, his senses on high alert. "Stay quiet," he said. "We're getting close." They moved stealthily through the forest, adrenaline pumping through their veins. The creature remained elusive, but the thrill of the chase was intoxicating. They couldn't deny the sense of danger that hung in the air, and yet they pressed on. As the night descended, their flashlights pierced the darkness, revealing glimpses of strange, otherworldly footprints. The track seemed to shift and change, as if the creature itself were a shapeshifter. Doubt crept into their minds, but they were too deep into the hunt to turn back now. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. It was Sarah. She had fallen into a concealed pit, barely managing to grab onto the edge. Mark and Mike rushed to help her, pulling her to safety. Her face was pale, and her hands trembled as she clung to them. "I saw it," she gasped. "The Shadow Stalker. It was right behind me." The others exchanged worried glances, but they knew they had come too far to abandon the hunt. With renewed determination, they pressed on, their every sense alert. The forest seemed to come alive around them, as if it were a sentient being conspiring against their quest. Ours turn it into days and exhaust young Nawed at their bodies. The hunt had become an obsession, an all-consuming quest for the elusive creature. But as they ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, they began to question their own sanity. Shadows danced at the edges of their vision, and strange whispers echoed through the trees. Emily, torn between her love for animals and the relentless pursuit, finally spoke up. "We're not hunting an animal," she said. "We're hunting a nightmare, a creature of darkness." Reluctantly, they retraced their steps, haunted by the knowledge that the Shadow Stalker would forever remain a mystery. As they emerged from the forest, they cast one last glance at the foreboding woods that had nearly consumed them. The legend of the creature would persist, a dark and terrifying enigma lurking in the depths of the forest, a story to be whispered around campfires for generations to come. In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, nestled deep within a dense forest, there was a legend that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to speak its name: the Midnight Stalker. For generations, the story had been whispered around campfires, a tale of terror that parents warned their children about to ensure they didn't venture too far into the woods after dark. The Midnight Stalker was said to be a monstrous creature, part man and part beast, with gnarled, elongated limbs and eyes that glowed like burning coals. It was rumored to prowl the forest at night, its sole purpose to hunt down any unfortunate souls who dared to enter its domain after sunset. On the outskirts of this forbidding forest, a group of adventurous friends gathered for a camping trip. Jack, the fearless leader of the group, had always been drawn to tales of the supernatural. He saw this excursion as an opportunity to prove that the Midnight Stalker was nothing more than an old wives' tale. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the forest plunged into darkness, the group gathered around a crackling campfire. The night was filled with eerie sounds, the hoots of owls, rustling leaves, and distant cries of unknown creatures. Still, the friends laughed and shared stories, dismissing the legend of the Midnight Stalker as pure fiction. Hours passed, and the group decided to embark on a daring venture into the heart of the forest, armed with flashlights and a sense of bravado. They believed that the tale of the Midnight Stalker was merely a ploy to keep people away from the beauty hidden within the woods. Deeper they ventured, their footsteps echoing through the silent night. The moonlight filtered through the dense canopy above, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. Suddenly, a sense of unease fell upon the group. Branches cracked and leaves rustled. But there was something else, a low, guttural growl that sent chills down their spines. As they turned their flashlights toward the source of the sound, their blood ran cold. Emerging from the shadows was a grotesque figure, taller than any man. Its limbs twisted and elongated, its eyes glowed like burning embers, and its gnarled, bony fingers reached out with an unnatural hunger. Panic swept over the group as they fled through the forest, their flashlights flickering in their trembling hands. But no matter how fast they ran, the Midnight Stalker was relentless, always lurking just beyond. One by one, the friends were ensnared by the creature's elongated limbs, disappearing into the darkness with agonized cries. Jack, the group's leader, was the last to be captured. He turned to face the Midnight Stalker, desperation in his eyes. In that moment, a revelation struck him. The legend was real, and they had foolishly ventured into the creature's hunting grounds. The Midnight Stalker was not a mere story. It was a horrifying reality. As Jack was dragged deeper into the forest, he realized the truth about the Midnight Stalker. It was not a mindless monster, but a guardian of the woods, a creature born of ancient magic and a fierce protector of the forest's secrets. The friends were never seen again, and the legend of the Midnight Stalker grew, a cautionary tale passed down through the generations. Those who dared to enter the Appalachian forest after dark did so at their own peril, for the Midnight Stalker was always watching, always hunting, and always ready to defend its domain. In the heart of the dense, ancient forest, a chill hung in the air as the sun dipped below the horizon. The locals called it the Shadowed Wood, a place where legends whispered through the rustling leaves and eerie echoes played tricks on one's mind. Tom had always been fascinated by tales of the Shadowed Wood, passed down through generations. He was an avid hunter, skilled with a bow and arrow, and he longed to prove his prowess by venturing into this mysterious realm. The stories spoke of elusive prey, creatures that only the bravest and most cunning could track. One moonless night, Tom embarked on his perilous journey, leaving the safety of his village behind. Armed with a bow, a quiver of arrows, and a lantern, he ventured into the inky darkness. The dense canopy overhead blotted out the stars, leaving only his lantern's feeble glow to guide him. Hours passed, and the forest seemed to breathe, its ancient secrets coming to life. Tom felt eyes upon him, watching, waiting. He pushed forward, his heartbeat drowning out the whispers that seemed to emanate from the gnarled trees. Then a rustling in the underbrush. Tom froze, gripping his bow tightly. Out from the shadows emerged a creature he could scarcely believe. a massive stag, its antlers twisted and ancient, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. The stag regarded Tom with a knowing gaze, as if challenging him. With trembling hands, Tom nocked an arrow and drew his bowstring. His shot was true, but the arrow passed through the creature as if it were made of smoke. The stag vanished into the darkness, leaving Tom bewildered and shaken. Determined to prove himself, Tom pressed deeper into the forest. He encountered a creek, its waters eerily calm. As he leaned down to drink, a reflection in the water caught his eye. A woman, ethereal and beautiful, with long, dark hair that seemed to flow like liquid shadow. She beckoned to him, her voice a haunting melody. Entranced, Tom followed her deeper into the woods. The woman led him to a glen where an ancient stone altar stood. It was adorned with offerings of bone and blood, evidence of rituals long forgotten. Realization struck Tom like a thunderbolt. He had stumbled upon something far more sinister than any mere hunting expedition. The woman's eyes gleamed with hunger as she revealed her true form, a wraith, a malevolent spirit bound to the forest, luring unsuspecting prey to their doom. Panicked, Tom fled, his lantern casting wild, dancing shadows as he raced through the twisting trees. He could feel the forest closing in around him, its darkness eager to claim him. The wraith pursued, her chilling laughter echoing through the night. Finally, Tom burst from the forest's edge, gasping for breath. He collapsed onto the ground, the terror of the shadowed wood still fresh in his mind. He knew now that some legends were not meant to be tested, that the forest held ancient supernatural secrets best left undisturbed. From that night on, Tom never spoke of his harrowing encounter, for fear that the forest's malevolent spirit still lingered, waiting for another unsuspecting soul to venture into their realm. The shadowed wood remained a place of dread and mystery, a haunting tale whispered around campfires, a warning to all who would dare to hunt its secrets.